Welcome to T Boys TV. We're back again with another Hat Show, episode 257. And in this one, we will briefly be talking about the Coventry game on Tuesday night. Won't be getting into player ratings. We'll just have a short reaction to that. And then obviously we're getting into the game on Saturday. And obviously we are doing it today because obviously you're busy yourself tomorrow, Dad. So we'll do it today, and it's good in a way because all the stuff come out today of who's available and stuff anyway. So I did say I'll do a press conference reaction if it come out on the Friday, but obviously it's come out today, so sort of saves me doing that as well, I guess. But yeah, before we get into anything, Dad, how are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Looking forward to a little festival tomorrow in London, Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
Not the stadium, but yeah, some old school rap and stuff. So yeah, should be good. Looking forward to it.
yeah, and I'm sure there'll be quite a lot of Palace fans there buzzing on top of winning the Community Shield and the FA Cup. So yeah, that'll be good for you and things like that. But yeah, as for the game, obviously against Coventry. Going into it, we weren't confident of a win in 90 minutes. We started off the first half really well, but before we get into the first half itself, we'll talk about the lineup. So we had Shea in goal. Good to see that we rotated the goalkeepers because, like I said, going into it, when we played, I know it's obviously a different manager. Well, technically it was Rob Edwards' assistants, but when we did play Forest last year in the FA Cup, we didn't rotate the goalkeeper, which I was surprised with. But we did here. The back three of Holmes, McGuinness, Chigoze. Obviously, Chigoze only found out a few hours before that he was actually set to feature in that. So, fair enough, really. For especially of how his performance actually ended up being. Wing back, we had Kadoa and Bramall on the other side. Good to see Bramall in. I did say I'd start him myself. I did actually say I'd start Kadoa as well. And in the midfield, it was obviously Lamine, Nelson, and Walsh. Again, the three in midfield I'd have went with for this game. And then up front, it was Nordas and Woodrow. Me personally, I'd have started Yates to get him some minutes. But it was good to see that Nordas was in, at the time, looking at that lineup. And then as for the bench, you had Ali, Anderson, Clark, Keeley, Longwick, Phillips, Richard, Saville, and Yates. So Yates was still on the bench, and it was good to see that there was still stronger players, I guess, on the bench. But yeah, obviously we expected rotation. Bloomfield did basically say Lamine, Nelson, and McGuinness will feature. Um, you know, you could probably say Nelson. Well, Nelson definitely is, and Lamine are probably even when Lamine's fully fit right now, I'd still say he's probably a bench player. But obviously, McGuinness is a star, as we know, when he's fully fit, raring to go. So, yeah, it was good to see the rotation. I mean, like I said, at the time, I didn't expect Chigoze to be in, like a lot of people. Obviously, I do remember him anyway being on the bench in the Premier League. I remember us dad doing a vlog from home and he was on the bench and we was like, oh, wow. Right. Because he had a similar name to Chio as well. So some people got confused and thought it was Chio at first because I think we had him at the time or something like that. But yeah, it was a interesting rotated lineup, wasn't it?
Yeah, we called a couple of players anyway. Shea, McGuinness, Walsh, Kadua, Woodrow, Nordas. It's good to see Bramall as well. Holmes, I was quite surprised about. But yeah, 11 changes we made, but they're
Yeah.
still decent in League One. That lineup's still decent.
Yeah, and obviously I had in my opinion, my rightful critics of Holmes after the game, but I did actually want to see him start this game. So a lot of them, when I looked at it, I couldn't really complain when I saw it, and it was good to see Bramall. Like I say, I think what helped is he played in the under 21s. I think it was on the day we actually played Peterborough. I think they played a few hours before, and I think he was in that lineup, so that helped, and that is a basis of why I put him in this squad as well because I knew he got some minutes elsewhere. But yeah, like I say, the first half itself, we were actually all right. We were actually, first halves in competitive games, we haven't been great. Let's be honest. Obviously, the Wimbledon game, we know how that was. The Peterborough game obviously was good in the second half, poor in the first half. But this game was actually good in the first half. The only thing I will say, and it is a little bit of a frustration still to people, including myself at the time, is the lack of shots, I guess. Obviously the best chance, the only chance really from us in this game was Woodrow's shot from distance. And to be fair, I don't actually think he was bad, starting. I still don't think like he's going to be the answer and stuff, but I don't think he was bad. To be fair, he obviously had that shot. Did play a nice before he played a nice pass to Nordas, he played a pretty poor one, but then he played a nice through ball to him. Um, like I said at the time, I think Nordas maybe should have tried to control it a bit better. To be honest, personally, but Woodrow was all right. Obviously, Bramall was pretty good. We still need someone else. I'll definitely say that. But, he did look decent. He actually probably played better than I expected him to play, if I'm being honest. Like I say, Chigoze looked good. McGuinness obviously looked good. And yeah, we were decent. We were knocking the ball around pretty well. Especially given how we started first half this year. Like I say, we haven't really been great, been sloppy and things like that in possession and things like that, holding on to the ball, etc. But we were actually half decent in that first half, to be fair, especially away from home against the Championship team who you'd argue do what they've done the last couple of years and fight for the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Like we had slightly less possession, but we had like 9 shots, only 1 on target. But we changed the whole team around, and some people didn't expect Nordas to start. And Woodrow was kind of playing in a left attacking position. It's a bit strange. But some players were doing all right, but other players, not so good. But we done all right in the first half. I think we did, considering 11 changes. Coventry still had 2 starters from their previous game. And they've got some decent players, obviously at that Championship level, and obviously definitely League One level anyway. So yeah, I thought we'd done all right in the first half. I thought we looked good.
Yeah. Like I say, if you compare that to other first halves, definitely. Since we play competitive games, but yeah, going into the second half, I don't know. We sort of dropped off, I'd say. Obviously we did take Bramwell off. That was good for a minute. Obviously, you don't want to, make him play loads of the game. Longwick come on, but then they did get their goal. And yeah, I've got to be honest. Tom Holmes, like I said, looking back at it, he's got done way too easy, and it's a bit of a shame because in the first half he actually done a good block. There was a good block he done, but then yeah, it's just not up to this. I'm not going to say this level, but I think sometimes it just don't work with certain clubs. And I think, like I said, I think of his game last time round. Obviously against Coventry, I was there the day after my birthday. Like I said in the match reaction, he was awful in that game. Got 2 yellows, and the yellow he got in this game was the exact same position he got the yellow or one of the yellows in the last game against Coventry. It's weird. It's proper weird. It was like in the same position. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to work. Like, because even like I said, a lot of people see Anderson as maybe not right now, but going into the season, they sort of see him as either go or he's a backup option. So if Anderson's a backup option, who would you rather have? For me, it's Anderson all day long. Taken away his form. I even said that at the start of the season. And I just don't see where he gets in. I mean, Chigoze played really well, as we know. I don't even think he gets ahead of him. So for me, that's a player we need to be getting off the books. Obviously I was very critical of Holmes the other day, which I should be, because it's not like we could have actually gone to extra time. I generally believe that. As much as, yeah, we weren't great second half, commentary putting on pressure. The goal, you look at a goal, people going, oh, the ball shouldn't have been played across. Well, it would have never been. If Holmes could actually defend in that moment and not get done so easily, it's pathetic. It's like I was watching fucking Rob Edwards' team. Do you know what I mean? It was it's poor from him. And I'm not going to blame anyone else. Sims is a good player. I think he scored against us last year in the 3-2, if I remember rightly. So he's got that capability, and these players do have them habits of scoring. And yeah, if he didn't get done so easily, then we could have actually bring it to extra time. But then if we went to extra time, people would have probably went, oh yeah, but then I don't want to do that because all penalties, whatever, wherever it goes, there'd have been more minutes and people would have been going on about that. So I don't know, but I wasn't disappointed with the team because I thought there were a lot of good performances. But like Shea was good, McGuinness all the defenders were good, bar Holmes. In my opinion. Nelson, I'll be honest, I said it the other day. I thought that was the worst game I've seen him playing. Some people thought he was decent. I thought he was awful. Personally, I thought that shot that he done was dreadful. And Bluefield said to him, or said it out loud, he wants him to make more of an impact on the team. Well, he ain't getting into no starting 11 playing like that. Let's just be real. That weren't a great performance from him. And Woodrow's our only player to have a shot on target. So it tells you a lot about the rest of the team. I'm not going to be harsh on Yates when he come on because, he would have scored, I reckon. The referee had a blunder as well. But what do you expect? These referees are shocking. Absolutely shocking. I mean, if any of you watched the Birmingham Ipswich game last Friday, or Friday just gone, the ref in that game was awful and all. But you can't expect anything else. But, yeah, I mean, I thought Lamine was all right. The players, that are getting into their minutes were actually all right. Like I say, Chigoze was really good, considering, a couple of hours before he's a youth player, things like that. But yeah, a lot of players had the opportunity to step up, didn't. Me personally, I don't really think Nordas done much. Like I say, he had that moment where Woodrow played it to him. Me personally, I think he should have controlled it a bit better. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm not disheartened we've gone out of the cup, but there's just things I look at and I still think, I don't know how long it's going to take until we're fully raring to go again.
I thought, like I say, I don't think it was too bad. 11 changes. Some players look good in spells, like, young player making his debut. I don't think Nordas was that bad. It's similar to how he was in pre-season. In fact, it's probably gone back a step. I think you just need to keep playing him. Do you know what I mean? Because he looked a lot more physical. He was getting involved, trying to win the ball. He won the ball a few times. Do you know what I mean? He laid it off pretty much perfectly every time, I think. And I think like the more you give him, the better he'll get. I think he's that determined. But we'll see. But yeah, overall, I'm not that bothered. Like some people are panicking about that, or social media is going a bit crazy about it. But I don't think it's that deep. And obviously, we're still looking to sign players as well. We'll see what happens with that. We do need another striker, like an up and coming. Do you know what I mean? We do. Just someone that's where he missed out on, like a Kelman, But
yeah,
we'll see what happens. Bramall looked good. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah.
Reminds me a little bit of Bell, but just a younger version. I thought he was quite good. I actually quite like him. Richards probably, when he come on, he had a good little cameo and that. You can see what he's trying to do. He's a very intelligent player for a 17-year-old. He's just going to get better and better. But I don't know, I might have started him, but we'll see. But yeah, let's wrap that up and get on to the Brentford game.
Yeah, I mean, let's go through some comments. People talk about the game. Big up to Rich. Says, evening, lads. Thought Bramwell did okay. Yeah, he did, like we said. Hi, Ty Daz. I like seeing some of the new players. It wasn't really horrible. At least we didn't lose 4-0. Yeah, and again, that's another thing I said in my reaction. I'm glad we didn't get battered. And it's sort of like my dad said in the last episode, because if we get battered, we want to be back in the championship. That's not really a good look, is it, really? Like I said in my reaction, it's not like we were playing like Ipswich or, a team that's gone down from the Prem. So I do agree with that as well. But yeah, the Middlesbrough game, that was shocking for them. But we know that. Rob Edwards defending can be like that with Rob Edwards' teams. But credit to Doncaster. I actually said at the start of the year, I didn't do my predictions on here this year, but I did say to people, I reckon they'll stay up, especially if they keep Molyneux, which so far they have. And I don't think he played in that game. I think they completely rotated. But yeah, Middlesbrough did have a few chances, but the goalkeeper he was really good, and he's not even their main goalkeeper. So massive credit to them. Yeah, so yeah, that was funny, but not really surprised. As much as they're playing the League One team, they are Championship. I'm not surprised because as we know as fans, we know what the defending can be like sometimes. Yeah, Nelson was deeper in the game. I do agree, but again, it don't for me that don't work. Why do we keep putting attacking players deeper? We've done that with Walsh against Wimbledon. That didn't work, and then got Saville to play higher. Look, like obviously we're not going to play Saville in this game. I know that, but even though we've been playing him higher and it's been working, like I'd rather put Lamine deeper in this game or allowed him to do both. Do you know what I mean? Instead of Nelson. Like, even think, yeah, I know it's different circumstances because we had Rob Edwards. But do you remember that? Well, you obviously will. The Burnley game, first game of last season, he was playing deep that game as well. And it didn't work. So, yeah, he's better as an attacking midfielder. He's actually a striker. So, the deepest I want to see him is an attacking midfielder or wing back because he did actually play wing back a few times for us, or he has, shall I say. I think he did when he scored that goal against QPR in the League Cup, actually, if I remember rightly. So there is that. Win Saturday, no one cares. Yeah, of course. That is the priority. Like I say, I'm not disheartened we've gone out of the competition, but I know these certain players can perform better. That's how I see it. Kadawa, yeah, he deserves a shout out. He was really good in the game. Again, not naturally a wing back, but he was very good in the game, especially in that first half. I thought he was probably arguably one of our best players. But yeah, I agree. Rob Edwards on fraud alert. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's that on the game, the Coventry game. Like I say, we're not going to go into player ratings because it's not really any point. Plus, I don't really give man of matches when we lose either. So yeah. But best player, if I had to say best player overall, because he had it on late notice, I'm saying Chigozie, if I had to say one. But yeah, moving on to sorry, not the player ratings yet for Bradford. The Bradford game overall. So obviously we go into the third game of the League One season away at Bradford City. Now, obviously they're a promoted team. They obviously got Newville, who obviously played for us before. A fairly experienced manager, Graham Alexander, as much as he was part of MK Dons. He's got the experience at this level. They've got a few experienced players that have been in and around League One/League Two level for a while. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. Like it says in the title, I believe personally it's our toughest game so far. Taking away the Coventry one, I'm on about in the league. And yeah, it's another away game. Obviously, it's the third away game in a row. Then obviously we go on to Wigan, I believe it is on next Tuesday. But yeah, as for this game, I'll say I'm expecting a tough game, to be honest with you. Yes, we've got the better players overall, but yeah, still with the signs I'm seeing in the sense of we are playing well in a half, but then we're not sustaining it for a whole game, like majority of the game. Obviously we are struggling a little bit with shots. There is them moments where I do worry a little bit. They've obviously got a big stadium, the crowd's going to be on it. They're a newly promoted team. They're actually unbeaten as well. I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. And like I say, I think it's going to be the toughest game we've had so far this season. But yeah, we might as well just get straight into the lineups, really, when it comes to this, because we've gone with the exact same this week. We've gone with the exact same lineup. So let me get that up. So yeah, 3-5-2. Bloomfield's hinted in his press conference anyway. He's not going to, a back three is more, or back five, whatever you want to call it, is more sustainable with what we've got, which I totally agree. Because if you put back four, we ain't got, for me, we ain't got the players to be putting left back and right back. They're not naturally them positions, So yeah, I do agree. But yeah, as for this, we've gone Keeley in goal. Obviously that's obvious one. Back three. We both agreed with Longwick, Anderson, and Naismith. Naismith, captain, obviously weren't there the other day, rightly so. Anderson, you can't drop him on his form for me. And then Longwick, yes, he worked in the wing back role against Peterborough, but me personally, I think going forward, it's not going to work. Like when we play the better teams and this type of game, me personally, I just don't think it would work. So that's why I've gone with him in centre back. McGuinness, you could argue him, but I still want to see him come off from the bench for now. Because also I do think if you have a back three of Naismith, Anderson, and him, McGuinness, it's not exactly the fastest. And I like to have at least one fast player. Obviously, when we had Sonny Bradley, Matt Kiss, and we had James Justin and Jack Stacey, obviously, on the other side for a while. So that was, that was a bit different. But yeah, Kadoa, let me know in the chat, guys. Do you think he should start again? I mean, I think he should. Obviously, it's come out. Walter's going to be out for, I think it's a few weeks. Obviously, Jones is still out long term. Longwick's the only other player that can really go there. But like I said, I don't really want to see it. And Kadoa was really, really good. So I'd go with him personally. Richard's gone with the same in the chat. We've got Ali left wing back. Now, I'm sure me and my dad both think the same on this in the sense of we don't really want to do that. But again, similar to the right wing back role, there's not really anyone. Longwick is the only player. Bramall, but he's getting the minutes still. I wouldn't mind seeing him come on at all, but I don't want to see him start from minute one in this game when he's still getting the minutes under his belt. The midfield, we got with the exact same. Saville, expect him to come back in. Baptiste and Clark. Right now, that's probably our best midfield. Baptiste was really good against Peterborough. Again, obviously rested during the week, rightly so. Clark, I didn't think he had his best game against Peterborough, but he still scored a goal. So, if you do that, you can't really complain. Still contributing. And then Saville, unbelievable performance. Both gave him man of the match against, obviously Peterborough. It's a much better game compared to the first game, but I think that's because of the role he was asked to do. And that could work well again in this game, where I believe there's going to be more pressure than Peterborough brought to us in this game. So it makes sense. And then the front two, Wells, you've got to put him in. He's obviously, technically, you could say he's got 2 assists, even though one of them was an own goal. Obviously in the Wimbledon game, but then obviously set up Jordan Clark for the second goal against Peterborough. So yeah, you've got to put him in, for this game. And then Yates, would have scored the other day, I believe, like I said earlier. And he's a number 9, so he's got to be playing in the main games, which is the League One games, obviously for us. So yeah, anything else you'd like to add, Dad?
No, Baptiste definitely, going to bring Ali deserves to start again. I know he's on there, but they'll get him to push forward. And yeah, for me, who else is going to play at right centre back? We ain't got anyone
other than Longwick. Sorry, yeah, I can't even think.
So, that's what we're going to have to do.
Other than McGuinness, that's it.
Yeah, but Guinness is much better in the centre.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it's going to be. Midfield, Baptiste, real quality. Clark, big for the club. Ali, he's got to get going. But them two up front as well. Yates is still getting minutes, but he's looking busy. And I want to see them two up front together as well, starting a game. Because I think if they're on song, that could be one of the most potent strike forces in the league, mate. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So yeah.
Yep. No, I agree.
That's and that. Right. If anyone don't know, Bradford have never beat Luton.
Yeah, like since flipping 1968. So yeah, technically you might as well say they've never beat us. Yeah. Well, 13 unbeaten. Yeah, granted we ain't played them, since 2019. But still, I don't know what's happened there. My dad probably joined back. But yeah, that is a really good record to have. It sort of reminds me in ways until they beat us 3-2 last year, the record against Coventry. Because a lot of them are actually close games, despite us, except 2018 where we beat them 4-0 and 2004. Well, there is a few actually. There's a 5-0, but that was 1969. Do you know what I mean? Since 2000, other than a 4-0 and another 4-0, 2004 and 2009, they have been close games, and obviously the ones against Coventry have been fairly close. So it does remind me of that in ways. There is a few 1-1 draws in there. There is actually a 3-3 draw, League Two, in 2009. So there's quite a few interesting ones there. Yeah, that 13 unbeaten. Like I say, it does remind me of our sort of games against Coventry in the sense of how tight most of them games are. But then even then, you look at one of the Coventry ones. Obviously until they beat us 3-2, you had that 5-0. Remember that the midweek. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But let's go through some comments before we do get into the score predictions. Start Kadoa, says Jackie. YT member. Love to see Kadoa given more game time. And Jake Richards, great prospect. Yeah, he's definitely going to be good for the future. I agree. But yeah, I agree. Kadoa should be playing there, and fair play to him because again, it's not really a natural. Well, it's not. It's not really. It is not that natural position for him. In a way, he come in done really well against a championship side. A very established championship side. Fair play to him. He's obviously seen that Walter's going to be out, and he's trying to capitalise on it for now. And it might be a similar situation, in my opinion, to McGuinness with Anderson, in the sense of, well, you ain't getting into the team starting unless the player drops off. Maybe it could be a thing there. Obviously, again, ideally, you want to get a right back. So I don't think it'll work the whole season or majority of the season with him because it's not naturally his position. But for the meantime, it could work. And he definitely deserves to be starting again, like everyone has said in the chat there. But yeah, when it comes to the game itself, score prediction, do you agree with me, Dad, that this is the biggest test so far for us? And what is your score prediction?
I think they have a good crowd, and it'd be up for the game. Biggest test, yeah. I understand what you mean, because they've always been around. Actually, they're quite a big club, really. Been in the Premier League before, similar to us. They should be doing a lot better, and the atmosphere is definitely going to affect the game. But for me, I think we've still got that extra bit of quality. They drew with Northampton, who are kind of like relegation favourites. Do you know what I mean? So I think we have the edge on it. So I'm going to go with 2-1 Luton.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with something I haven't gone with so far this year, and that is a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw in this game. I do think, like I say, it is our biggest test so far, and I do think they can get something out of the game. And there's just them little moments we're still having, like the lack of obviously shots. We are only really playing well in one half in games. So for me, I am going to say a 1-1 draw in this game. So yeah, that's my prediction for this game. YT member says 2-1 to Luton. Biggest test so far. Yeah, exactly. If I did back us, I would have said 2-1, but I've said 2-1 every game, even if that's us to lose. And it hasn't happened. So, yeah, I'm going to say that it's going to be a draw, but obviously hope I'm proven wrong and we get 3 out of 3. That'd be really good. And then obviously, again, we've got another quick turnaround, another league game though this time. So, let's see. 2-1 to Luton, says Jackie. Wells and Jordan Clark to score. Yeah, the thing with me for Wells, I reckon this year, I actually reckon he'll get more assists than goals. I just think he's good at contributing in that way. But yeah, it'd be good if he scored because he ain't scored in the league yet, has he? So that'd be good for him. And then obviously Clark, to get another goal. I mean, I'll be honest, Clark plays poorly but scores again, or not as great as he can, then you take it. And Rich has gone 3-0 to us. That'd be a very, very good away win. I'll definitely take that. Obviously there've been a few idiots that go, oh yeah, but it's a newly promoted team, you should be beating them, but we know they're going to be a test. So, to go there and score 3 and not concede would be good. But yeah, any final things, Dad, you want to say about anything?
Yeah, goal scorers for me. Um,
Oh yeah, of course.
Wells and Ali. And
Okay.
Chat GPT prediction is 2-1 Luton as well.
Yeah, right. That's good because Jamie done it and it was 2-1 as well. So at least then on the same wavelength, unlike I think it was the Coventry game, wasn't it? It said different things. But yeah, no, 2-1. But that loves a 2-1. That said 2-1 every game, I think, innit?
I think it is actually.
Yeah. See, I'm not going for that. I'm not going for that again. But if we win, obviously I'll be happy. Other comments, he's not greedy Wells. No, exactly. And that's why I think he will get more assists because the more I think about it as well, obviously, hopefully we get another attacker and then he can sort of be a rotational player and then obviously start a few games. But then I just think he'll contribute more in that way. And then like it'll be between Yates and whoever we bring in or Ali to be the top scorer. That's what I think personally for us. That's what I think. Things will click. Yeah, they 100% will. It's just I look at it and I think, well, when is it fully gonna do that? Obviously, it's gonna take a while. We've got new players and stuff, but yeah, I know we can be better, but we have got 2 out of 2 wins, so I can't really grumble at that. And we're out of a competition that I'm not too asked about, if I'm being honest. However, like I said the other day, I do hope they release them with the number 1 on it because that's memorabilia, mate. A lot of teams ain't won none of them, yeah, including Watford. So yeah, hold that. We've also got knocked out, so that was good to see. But yeah, any final things that you want to say about anything?
That's it. Just enjoy the game. Usual stuff, I think we've got a good chance. And about the clicking thing, we've clicked in little tiny bits and that, but when we fully click, we're winning now and not conceding. When we're proper on point, we're going to be on fire. So I'm looking forward to that. Worst case scenario with strikers, you're still going to have Woodrow, you're still going to have Nordash. Do you know what I mean? I think there's enough goals there. Brown would be back. He's too good for that level. I know I've criticised him in the past, etc. But for that level, he's the type of player who would just bang goal after goal. So I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting one with
I've seen us in that league before a few times, and this is one of them times. I just think that extra bit of quality already is helping you, and once you get on point, it's just going to be too difficult for teams to deal with you, and that's what we've got that quality to do. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another win.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like I say, obviously, we have got the better squad and things like that, which could get us over the line because it did against Wimbledon. Let's be honest. We weren't really great in any half in that, but it was the subs that were impactful, and they have been, fairly impactful. But yeah, we could very well win. I could have get it wrong, but yeah, for me, like I say, it's definitely the biggest test so far. Jackie says we have had a rest this week. I'm positive. Yeah, exactly. Like the main players, like obviously Naismith, obviously a few others as well. Obviously Anderson, things like that. So there is that. When it clicks, some teams will get hurt. Yeah, I totally agree. I
100%.
totally agree. I totally do agree with that, mate. Not sure who's going to run out. Who's better up front, and we have now. Yeah, I think, like we said, we go Yates and Wells for this game. You definitely got to put Wells back in. Again, he's another player that's fully rested the other day. And yeah, I just think Yates being a number 9, he would have scored the other day, I believe, if the ref didn't have whatever shambolic moment he had. But yeah, if one final thing I do want to talk about before we do leave, because it just come back to my head, is Ipswich are set to actually get rid of El Hamadi. Now, obviously, we were linked with him earlier on in the season, in the summer transfer window. Charlton one of the teams that are also interested. I will be a little bit surprised if they go in for him because obviously they've got Kelman, they've got the one from Stockport, and obviously they've still got Matty Gooden ringing around as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it will happen, but we was quite open to the talks, of taking him last time. Are you still feeling the same, Dad?
Yeah, I don't think like he wants to play in the championship. He believes that, but he ain't shown that as well. Charlton, it wouldn't surprise me if they managed to. And who was the other teams? Oxford, I think, was it? Was it?
Oh,
No,
can't
Cardiff
remember.
and someone else.
Cardiff, that's it. I only saw Cardiff, Charlton, and us.
I don't think Charlton will have him. Got to say,
I think they've got too many strikers. Like I know, they've got good strikers for that level. Whereas we got no disrespect, but we got Woodrow, and then people are iffy about Nordas. So it makes more sense for us.
But if the guy wants to play in the championship, then another team from the championship will come for him, and he'll go there. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to like Oxford, Millwall.
Tell you what.
So I don't think we'll be getting him. Our biggest thing is we didn't get to V-Day because I think he's a good player.
I'd loved him because he could play anywhere across the three.
It sounds like they wanted a fee which we agreed on, but they wanted him back on loan for the rest of the season, and we was like no, because obviously we'd develop him. We'd be playing him in the Virtue Trophy and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I think what's happened there. So I don't think we'd be getting him. I think it's just agents pushing stuff up. But apparently he's been told probably after that League Cup game, apparently where he was terrible anyway.
Yeah, apparently he was, yeah.
I think he needs to drop a level to get back to out. Do you know what I mean? Because he was really good at this level. I think if he goes to the championship team, it's going to be more of the same. But it's up to him what happens. But we'll still be looking to get someone else. So he'll probably come out of the blue.
Yeah. I believe it will because apparently when Tavide obviously stuff fell through, we put another bid in for the one we were looking at before from was it Gillingham? Yeah. Apparently put another bid in or something and they rejected it or something. So yeah, we know, like I said, last couple of weeks, we still know we need someone else. The club know that. But yeah, I do agree. I mean, I obviously watched the presser and I know you did as well, Rich. And I was surprised that there was nothing on transfers. Like, obviously, you're not going to say like, "Oh yeah, he's coming in," but they didn't even ask any questions. Whereas I think it was the week before, they sort of like mentioned to V-Day, or might have been the one before that. They sort of mentioned it, and he sort of said he don't want to talk about players that are not his, which is fair enough. But then they didn't even like ask any questions, like even on outgoings. Like, we need to know like what's going on with Nakamba. Is he still going to be sitting on a wage? Like, or are we actually going to be getting rid of him? Do you know what I mean? Not that he's used to the first team, because he's not. But there's also things like that. Like, are we going to be slouching around? And something that we did hear today as well from that press conference was Chong is going to be back on the grass. Now, I don't really, with all due respect, I don't care. I just don't think the guy's good enough for this physicality in League One. Not for me. Not for me. The further down you go, the more physical it is. I don't think he'd be able to handle it, mate, to be honest with you. I don't really care about that. Do you know what I mean? The other stuff, like, obviously I wanted to hear, but I wanted to hear more on transfers, but yeah, it is a little bit annoying. And that's the thing. Yeah, going back to, I know because I saw that he wants to play in the championship. Sometimes these players, like, they got to earn it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't really lit up the world when he's been to the championship. Yeah, all right, half a season, whatever. He come into Ipswich, got 4 goals. It's half season, but I mean, I think he needs to do better to actually show his worth. Whereas Kelman, it was a bit different. is one going to Charlton because banged X amount of goals in like way more than Thingy did for Wimbledon. I think El Hamadi got like 11 for Wimbledon, whereas Kelman obviously got what 20 plus. Do you know what I mean? So I think some of these players have got to earn it sometimes. Love it if we got him, but seems unlikely because our reluctance to pay. Yeah, yeah, because obviously Ipswich, massive part of this was Ipswich getting Akpom, who obviously, as we know, Middlesbrough, mate, it's a baller for them. So yeah, 2 weeks left in the window. Yeah, obviously I've just mentioned that. Very tight-lipped on it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what would you guys say the main priority is now? Obviously, would you say left back still or another attacker? Like, if we had to go with one first, obviously, ideally, we want both. Like, if we had to go one, I mean, I'll probably still say left back because even when Bramall's like ready to go, I still think we need another option because the other players you're going to be putting there are not wing backs or left backs, full backs, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, right back, left back. Yeah. Me personally, if I had to say, I'll say left back, and then I would say right back, and then I'd say like attacker. That's what I think they are. I think midfield will right unless someone goes. If someone goes in midfield, then we need to get someone in, depending on who it is. So like if Nakamba goes, I'd like a backup CDM, someone who's a bit more defensive minded. Because Lamines obviously plays higher than up. Other than that, you've only got Saville really. Um, so yeah, but I think a lot of outgoings have to happen. Well, not a lot, but a few outgoings have to happen now until we get anyone else in. So hopefully, like Holmes goes, Nakamba goes, and that's probably it. Because it sounds like Chong's going to be staying, so at least until January. So we'll see. Right wing, back, centre back. Yeah. Again, yeah, centre back for me is similar to midfield in the sense of if someone goes, then yeah. But like I say, for me, left back, right back, then attacker. They're the main three for me. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is with Jones as well, when he comes back, I want to see him like higher, but it ain't gonna happen. Like I don't think he has his moment. Like a couple times last year, he got like silly yellow cards and stuff as a wing back. No, I still want to get someone else in. Like, do you know what I mean? That's how I see it. And I know you're the same, obviously, Rich, on that as well. Yeah, lack of cover. And that's the thing. I think Bloomfield knows wing back is our priority anyway, because if any of you watched his presser, he was like, yeah, like they sort of asked him the question. He's sort of like, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? He like pulled a face. So even he knows, like, it's just, it is a bit worrying. We're not really linked with anyone the last couple of days. But then again, Luton do always have that time, like you said, Dad, where we announce someone out of nowhere. So might be a similar thing. I mean, we've done that a few times over the last couple of seasons, but hopefully it's the player that's going to work. Yeah, he said that of a lot of players, didn't he? He said that of a lot of players today. But I think we're at that stage, especially at wing back, where you've just got to put some of them in. Like Kadoa, you've got to be putting him in. Like, even though he's had a lack of minutes himself, really, you've got to be putting him in. There's players like that, which I think you have to put in. But like Bramall, I'd be putting him on a bench and things like that, like I said. Yeah. And again, like you said earlier, that hopefully he can go higher up, Ali, in this game, because I do feel last couple of games he has he might have been told to do it. Well, I think he has been told to do it. He's been like a bit more limited. He's not really been driving at the players and doing what he was doing in pre-season, basically. So yeah, hopefully he can do that at times because Naismith's not the fastest, but that's a good player to have behind. For the cover if we allow Ali to go higher, or you can even do a thing like where Saville could sort of cover that left as well while Ali's going forward, something like that. Because we know causes havoc when he runs at players, but for me, we just haven't really seen it in the competitive games. So yeah, that's how I see it. But yeah, one final thing before we go. Obviously, it is pinned. Do join the Discord. A lot more people joined it over the last couple of days and weeks. So yeah, appreciate everyone that's on that. And yeah, we do have discussions before the games, obviously the points as well. I will read them out just before we go. I know some people do not have it. Yeah, so I'm on 3 points. Dad, you're on 1 point. Jackie, you're on two. Rich, you're on three. Paul's on two. Stephen's on three. Tom's on one. Phil's on one. Andy's on two. Who's currently in the lead? Darth Vader, who actually joined literally the Peterborough game. He's in the lead. He did say 1-0 against Coventry, so he got that spot on. So he's now on four. Terry's on one. Chat GPT, who's meant to be the G at this, is not winning. Is on three. And then Jamie's on three as well. So yeah, that's the points for that. But like I say, if you do want to join the Discord, we have conversations on there. I let people know my content, and then we talk about the the points and just looting in general. So yeah, do join it. Things like that. Like I say, it is in the pinned thing, and it is also in the description. But yeah, as for content, there'll be nothing other than shorts up until the game. And then the game, we'll be watching it together, Dad. So we'll probably do a match reaction after, or I will, or something like that. There'll be a reaction either way. And then yeah, next week I'll be doing a watch along on TikTok again for the Wigan game, and then obviously I'll do a match reaction again outside the pub, and obviously there'll be a hat show all in one again, and there'll probably be a lot of all in ones this year because, especially at the moment, because of the quick turnarounds and things like that. So that will be on. We'll probably do it on Monday again. Makes sense to do it on Monday, day before the game, and things like that. So yeah, big up to everyone. I've got to say, smash a like, subscribe, follow me across all my socials, subscribe to the extra channel, and yeah, do smash a like if you're watching back and playback, subscribe, all of that. And yeah, until then, take care, peace.
Peace.